Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Give me 1 second because, as usual, I'm going to go over and share this real quick inside my group. And if you are brand new to me and you don't know about my new Facebook group, it's called Disruptors Nation. And it is an intimate community of women just like you, leaders, high achievers, high performers, change agents who are really committed to making a difference in the world, regardless of the type of work you do. They're committed, just as I am, to showing up and doing the work it takes to remove any obstacle inside so that you can show up and actually make a difference. So if that sounds like you and you are looking for a safe community to show up and be that person, the Disruptors Nation is for you. So hop on over and join us. I'm just going to go quick, share this into that group. Oh my goodness. Hold on, I got to shut down the volume on that. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I think we're good. Awesome. So welcome. I am so glad you're here with me today. If you're here, pop in the comments and say, hey, I always love to see who's with me. And especially welcome new people to my page and to me and to doing this incredibly important work so that you can step into being a really, really powerful change agent. So the Thursday Throwdown is a mini training session that I do every single week to help you shift your mind, build your skills, move your blocks, increase self-awareness so that you can really get to work every single day inside your life and inside your work or your business or your movement or whatever it is you're doing to create change that actually serves the greater good instead of the chosen few or the elite. And today I'm going to be talking about obstacles. Now on Mondays I do something called Power Up, which is really quick, laser focused, fast session where I give you something to reframe so that you can go into your week in a really powerful way. And then on Thursdays, I go into a much deeper dive. And so this Monday, I talked a lot about the obstacle being the way and your perception of obstacles. That's really the thing that's holding you back. So a big part of your personal power, your ability to show up and be a powerful disruptor, a powerful leader, a powerful change agent lies in how you perceive your obstacles. And I've known for a long time that one of my roles in this world is to shine light on all of the things that are holding you back from doing your greatest work in the world. And then in return, living your greatest life. And the truth is, it's not all the stuff out there that are your obstacles. Do we bump up against external challenges? Yeah, all the time. So people who hate on us on the internet because they have what I like to call internet muscles, kind of like beer muscles, where they all of a sudden they get behind a laptop or a phone and they get super freaking brave and they say the most inappropriate things. So do we have to deal with that, online? Yeah, sure. Do we have to deal with people who, in our faces in public, disagree with our messages, disagree with our opinions, don't like us for whatever reason, because we're women, because of our age, because of how we look, because of our race, because of our sexual identification, whatever it is? Are we gonna have to face that stuff? Yeah, of course. Are we gonna have to figure out strategic ways to build our platforms, get our message out there, write the book, run for the office, start the business, submit the research paper, whatever it is? Yeah, we have that stuff to deal with. But I'm here to tell you the truth. None of that stuff is what's actually stopping you. It's your perception of that stuff and your response to that stuff that's actually the real problem. And I know for some people that's a really hard pill to swallow because we're human beings and we want to place blame. We want somebody else to be responsible for why we're having such a hard damn time. And a lot of times, if we're just being reasonable and logical, it can certainly look like it is somebody else's fault for the reason that we're suffering or struggling or having a hard time. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute when I share some of my own personal story with you. But what I know is 100% true, kind of like what Oprah says, what I know to be true, is that when you lean in and transform, whatever inside of you is creating the discomfort, is creating the pain, is creating the struggle, the fear, the self-doubt, the overwhelm. When you transform those inner obstacles, none of what's going on around you is ever going to have the power to knock you out of your mission, to knock you off track for any length of time. Yeah, there might be little bumps here and there, but they're always learning opportunities. In other words, you're going to be in command of yourself, of your work, of your goals, of your impact. And nobody else around you is going to have the power to take that away from you. Because even if they back you into a corner, you'll find another way, because there's always another way. So one of the things I invite you to do is to stop bullshitting yourself. Stop fooling yourself about the pains you're experiencing being about somebody else or something else outside of you. And stop avoiding it. Now, look, the way we're wired as people, as human beings, physically and in our brains, we're wired to avoid things that hurt for obvious reasons. You put your hand on the stove, you're going to get a burn. You step out in front of the car, you're probably going to get killed. So I get it. There's just this very baseline instinctual impulse to avoid pain. But people like us who put ourselves out there all the time with our faces, with our messages, with our writing, with our art, with our research, with our books, whatever it is, people like us cannot be avoiding pain. As a matter of fact, leaders like us, people who are thought leaders, who are movement leaders, who are innovators, who are creators, who are healers, who are change agents, the opposite is what empowers us. So, leaning into your pain, which seems totally counterintuitive, and you're like, holy shit, I don't want to do that. It hurts. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know if I can handle it, even though on the outside you might look like a rock. It's the pain you're avoiding and denying and leaning away from that's causing the problems. It's causing the procrastination. It's causing the denial. It's causing you to overeat, overdrink, overshop, overgamble. It's causing you to wait. It's causing you to hide, to shrink away. It's causing you to lean into things like perfectionism, into all the things that create overwhelm. Or if you're type A like me, I'm in like a 12-step type A recovery program, then you do the opposite of getting overwhelmed. You shift into overdrive and you're like a speeding freight train headed for burnout. And when we're overwhelmed or we're in a persistent state of stress or fear or pressure, or we're in overdrive all the time, in the end, we will not be able to continue to be change agents, leaders, visible. So we've got to do, these are the threats to that thing, that big thing that you know you were meant to do, to be, to have, to represent, to say, to sing, to create, to write. These are the real threats. The real threats aren't haters or a different political party or a different religion or a different gender or a different law. Those aren't real threats. Are they challenges? Absolutely. But the real threats to you not being impactful in this world are all inside of you. And when you do the work to shift those threats mentally, emotionally, energetically, then what it frees you to do is make decisions that get you into consistent, impactful action in your community, in your province, in your state, in your church, in your mosque, in your country, in your region, in your political party, in your activist group. This is what moves the needle. Now, I have not talked about my own sort of personal journey with my community in a really long time, for no other reason than, and I was just talking to somebody on my team about this the other day, for no other reason than I was trained as a psychotherapist, a clinical psychotherapist. And while I, in a very conscious way, shared certain things about myself with certain clients where it was clinically appropriate for them, we're trained not to really talk about ourselves a whole heck of a lot. So when I stepped into this realm and I put myself out in the online world, and I stepped on stages and I got on podcasts and I started doing live streams and all that stuff, my first inclination was not to talk about myself, because I was trained not to do that. And the second thing is, when you're really motivated and inspired and compelled by being of service to other people, it's kind of normal not to think to talk about yourself and to make it all about that other person and how can I help you? How can I help you? How can I help you? And so I need to remind myself, and I need the people around me, my team, and even my clients sometimes, to remind me of the power of my story, even though I get on here all the time and I tell you about the power of your own story. I need the reminder myself. So I decided today would be a great day to do that, because my entire journey to 48 years old has included some real trauma, some real difficulty, a lot of pain, a lot of growth and processing, having to do a lot of the work. And so I'm going to share some things with you, and I want you to understand that I come to this work to empower, to coach, to teach, to advise, to support, to inspire, to compel. Not because of my advanced degree, not because of my post-grad certifications, not because of my 20 plus years doing clinical work with people's minds and emotions. Those things all helped immensely. But I teach these things and I try to model these things because I've lived these things, and I continue to live them every day. And the way that I work through them is by using the exact processes I teach my clients to shift everything internal that is in your way so that you can show up. So that no matter what you've faced, you can still rise. So that no matter how afraid you actually are, there is always courage available to you. So that no matter how anxious you feel, or the guilt or the shame that you've carried with you like luggage forever, no matter how big or deep that goes, that you can shift it over enough to make decisions and choices that allow you to be on purpose, be on fire, be of service, be a change agent, be a voice, be a force out in the world. And I'm living proof of this, as all of my clients are. So really, my journey has been one of darkness to light. That's the best way I can describe it, is darkness to light. Because my life, my personality, my understanding of the world, my relationship with my body, with myself, with my everything, started with being sexually abused as a toddler. A toddler. Before my personality, before my sense of self before my understanding of the world was even fully formed. This was one of my very first experiences in life, which is true for so many of you, because if you even look at the statistics, the likelihood that one of you who's listening to me today has experienced sexual trauma or sexual violence in some way, shape, or form, the likelihood is very, very high. But for me, it was before my personality was even fully formed, because that happens between about 5 and 6 years old. That's how I was introduced to the world. And when you are introduced to the world, to other people, to an awareness of yourself and your body, to an awareness of intense fear, at that early age, it cannot help but touch every part of life, every part of your experience as a human being. And I choose the word touch very purposefully, because I do not see myself as a victim. I was a victim at 3, and for however long it went on, which is kind of still unclear to me, which is fine. You don't have to know all the details, by the way, in order to heal. I promise you that. But I was a victim then. Being a victim any moment after that, when I truly had the capacity to choose to resonate with that role and that definition and everything that means, I didn't go that way. Because of an utter refusal to let people have that kind of power over me. Now, do not be confused about what I'm saying to you. I did not just miraculously figure this all out and get my shit together and, just show up with confidence and courage. I went through my teens experiencing major depression. I was suicidal at 14 and then again at 19. I developed an eating disorder at 14 that lasted until I was 22 years old. I had physical things that happened, migraines, trouble sleeping, that kind of stuff. Then as a young person in my early 20s, and it had started to surface prior to that, but it really hit a crescendo in my 20s, I really grappled with rage. For me, anger has always been a very easy emotion to access. Sadness was harder. Sadness to me felt more vulnerable. Anger, we were buds. But it was rage. And by definition, when you are enraged, you are not in command of yourself. So I made a lot of really poor choices. I acted out in anger towards other people. I acted in anger towards myself. Now, I've been very fortunate, incredibly fortunate, that every step along the way, there has been a woman, typically older than me, who has stepped in to show me the way, to provide me with resources and connections, to reflect to me what she saw in me, what they saw in me that I could not see in myself at the time. So the universe, the divine God, whatever you choose to call it, despite the trauma, has always come through. And other things happened along the way. I was stalked twice, police reports and everything. Just like most women I know, I've had my boundaries violated on the streets, in clubs, in bars, at parties. Like so many of us, like so many of you. I've been in extremely toxic relationships. One of them's in prison for murder for the rest of his life. Not joking. And in my late 20s, I developed panic disorder with severe insomnia. I would go 72 hours at a time without a wink of sleep. All while looking like I was really doing well on the outside. I was successful in my career. It looked like I had everything together, but I didn't. So it's been a very long journey, my friends, a very long journey. And along the way, I have continued to lean in rather than away to greater and greater degrees. Because when I leaned away, I developed an eating disorder because I was trying to control instead of knowing how to be in command. When I leaned away, the pain, the emotion got buried deeper, and then all these other symptoms started popping up. Chronic illness, chronic pain, depression, anxiety, panic, anger, you name it. But eventually, I figured out that leaning towards my pain actually brought light to the situation. When I cast light on all of it and saw the truth of who I am and the truth of what has gone on, I was able to tap into limitless possibilities, resources, solutions, ideas, relationships, courage, confidence. I am utterly convinced that I have an unending well of confidence and courage. I literally think to myself on the regular when my ego likes to tell me, oh, you should be afraid of that person or that situation or that thing. Now I laugh. What are you going to do that hasn't already been done to me? That I haven't already proven that I can survive and thrive afterwards? There's nothing. There's nothing. And so I know so many of you are hurting for different reasons. And I know so many of you are feeling this pull forward into more, towards bigger. And that it is going to require you to stretch, that it's going to require you to get uncomfortable, that it's going to require you to heal the things that are not yet healed inside of you so that all of your gifts can be accessed fully, so that you can tap into all of your bravery and courage, so you can finally flesh out that message that truly supports people. But you must know that the obstacle is the way. The obstacle isn't what you've been thinking it is. This thing to avoid, this thing to run away from, this thing to get over, which just means be dismissive about it. Get over it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Really? So I had a choice to make, really, is what this boils down to. I had one very simple but very powerful decision to make, and that's this. Will I allow my life experiences, the beliefs, the emotions, the habits, the blocks of all kinds, will I allow those things write the end of my story? Or will I do whatever it takes to heal and transform so that I can answer the call to rise and make a difference? That's the one simple decision. Sorry about the dog. Like you, for a long time, I've had a deep, deep inner knowing that I was meant to do big, big things, to serve in big ways, to support women who are also doing big, big things in the world. And once I learned to lean in and do the healing work, the opportunities, the ideas, the relationships, the courage, the confidence, the creativity, it just keeps getting better and better and better, my friends. not from luck, not from skill, and sure as shit, not from me being more special than any of you. I did two things. I decided that this would not write the end of my story. And then I did and continue to do everything it takes to heal myself, to transform and release my blocks, so that I am not in the mindset of, the energy of, or the emotion of being limited in any way. When you do this work, you will continue to show up more powerfully, more impactfully every single day, and you will finally begin to make the difference you have been yearning to make your entire life. And you will create a legacy that your family, that your friends, that your clients, that your customers, that your followers, whatever you want to call them, will be so grateful for. So that's my story in a nutshell. I am honored that you're a witness to it. I continue to share it because I know it matters, not just because it's mine, but because I know other women can relate to it. And we need more examples of women like us out visibly in the public who say, I've been through some shit, then I went through some more shit, and then it got topped off with extra shit. And I'm still here. Not only am I still here, it's getting better and better all the time. So if that's the work you know you need to do in order to step into the fullest version of yourself as a change agent, as a disruptor, as a thought leader, as a whatever the word is, then you and I need to talk, because I would love to teach you how to do that, how to shift all of the blocks. So just shoot me a PM. I'm always available. Or you can shoot me a message on Instagram, or you can send an email into my company at info@kellyruta.com, and we'll set up some time to talk about the very best next steps for you on this journey. Because it's not enough just to work on your PR, your TED Talk, your book outline, your political campaign, your business strategy. It's not going to get you where you want to go, because you bring you to all of those things. And so if the blocks in you aren't shifted, as excellent and strategic and brilliant as those other things might be, they're not going to mean a whole lot to you. So I would love to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in today, for listening to my story. And my challenge to you is lean into the obstacles. I promise you they are the way. All right, my friends, sending you off with much love into the rest of your day and the rest of your week. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the likes. If you feel like your community, your friends, your followers would benefit from hearing this message, I invite you to click the share button and share it out, because I know there are women who need to hear this message. And if you could help me share it, then we're both doing something good today. All right, everybody, take care.